right now on 5 on Your Side at 10.
The stormy pattern continues into Memorial Day weekend. We are tracking when thunderstorms will be strong to severe and more widespread.
Curbing violence tonight. The search for solutions is turning into a multi-county action. Corralling chaos.
Our citizens don't want that here. Our community does not want to have that here.
Tonight, we're looking into the response to a St. Louis slideshow that has now turned deadly. First tonight, we're following breaking news. Police are on the scene of a triple shooting in St. Charles. Good evening, everyone. I'm Kelly Jackson.
And I'm Mike Bush. Right now, police on the scene near the Embassy Suites at the St. Charles Convention Center. That's right off Interstate 70. Our Robert Townsend is live on scene. Robert.
Mike, right now, lots of police are still out here in the St. Charles County neighborhood. As I step back, you can see their flashing lights. They have blocked off a large section of the rear parking lot here at the St. Charles County Convention Center that's near Embassy Suites. Police are focusing on that white Chevy car you see right there. It crashed into a tree. You can see the front of the car is demolished. We're also seeing apparent bullet holes in the front and back windshields. So far, police have not talked to us on camera, but they're telling us that they came out here just after 8 o'clock after someone shot 3 people. 2 people suffered life-threatening injuries. Now we're hearing the third wounded person has non-life-threatening injuries. We're also hearing that one of the persons who suffered life-threatening injuries is a 19-year-old young man. And at this point, that's all we know at this point. I can also tell you this, right now investigators have not told us anything about a motive or suspects. We're definitely on top of this triple shooting. You can follow it on KSDK.com. Live in St. Charles County, I'm Robert Townsend, 5 on Your Side.
Yeah, and as Robert said, we're going to keep you up to date on this breaking news, both on air and online at KSDK.com, along with our 5 on Your Side app.
The bulk of rain and storms have moved out of the bi-state, but the threat of scattered showers and storms remains overnight. Let's get the latest from Weather First Chief Meteorologist Scott Connell.
You know, Kelly, while we still have a chance for a shower or thunderstorm overnight, it looks like the better chances are south of St. Louis and really don't drift into the metro area until around or just before daybreak tomorrow. Right now, pretty quiet for most of us. In fact, a partly cloudy sky for many. That's a look out in St. Charles right now, where you are looking at a partly cloudy sky. We've been looking down to the south, and yes, as we go south, we find a few showers and occasionally a rumble of thunder. This is the area we'll focus on for the next few hours. Warm, humid air is trying to be drawn to the north, but boy, the talker of the day was this. How about what Joe sent in from Fenton with these asperatus clouds? Yeah, those wavy clouds associated with the storms. A few showers are still possible overnight. Maybe some of them have some small hail. Severe weather threats awfully low the next couple of days for us. That may change on Friday. It definitely may change by Sunday. We'll talk more about the weekend storm chances in just a bit, Mike.
And new developments tonight in that weekend car slide show in North St. Louis County that led to gunfire. 15-year-old Gerardo Perez of East St. Louis has died. He was one of 5 people shot in Earth City Saturday night. 2 people have been arrested. 19-year-old Garen Stevenson faces several charges, including second-degree murder. A 17-year-old faces similar charges. Now, tomorrow morning, the Major Case Squad will hold a news conference to discuss this case. There are still a lot of unanswered questions about this car slideshow that started in the Bridgeton area and spilled out into a large portion of St. Louis County.
On top of the shooting victims, one officer was hit by a car in another incident near Florissant. 5 on Your Side's Laura Barczewski sat down with the St. Anne police detective to go through the police response to the mayhem.
Mike and Kelly, this was a very chaotic Saturday night that truly overwhelmed St. Louis County. Police departments were called in from all corners of the county and even beyond for multiple incidents that spanned hours.
After the events on Saturday surrounding this car slideshow, we found many of you were searching for the answer to this question. What is a slideshow? It can also be called a car meet or a sideshow depending on where you live. St. Anne Police Detective Lieutenant Monica Rellis says very simply, it's illegal stunt driving.
Essentially, a group of individuals that have these high-speed cars that can drive fast and basically slide or do burnouts or donuts.
Dispatch scanner traffic paints a clear picture of that night and just how chaotic the slideshow and the fallout from it was for first responders and affected communities. It started in the Bridgeton area close to St. Anne.
St. Louis County.
Be advised, my sergeant just advised referencing the old Walmart
that the vehicles, they're currently making their vehicles purposely backfire, and they have subjects hanging out of the vehicles in the center as they're doing donuts in the middle of the parking lot. Do you have any cars available to assist with multiple cars out at St. Charles Rock Road and Cypress? Possibly 500 to 1,000 attendees. Richmond's up, and Maryland Heights is sending 2 cars as well.
St. Anne police ended up calling in extra officers. The Missouri State Highway Patrol also had extra troopers on staff, but Relis says it was tough to navigate St. Charles Rock Road that night because of the sheer amount of cars.
It was very hard for first responders to get there for traffic control and other first responders to get there to try to assist victims.
St. Anne police were able to divert some of the drivers from the event onto I-70, but others split off speeding through side streets. Later, they ended up on Corporate Lake Drive.
Multiple victims with gunshot wounds were contacting fire and us giving them updates.
And it all ended on New Halls Ferry Road, where one officer was hit and pinned between 2 cars.
We're on scene for multiple cars in the area with shots fired. We're getting EMS for a civilian and an officer. The officer is not shot, but it is an officer in need of aid.
Relis says in St. Anne they have strong words for anyone who tries to bring a slideshow to their city again.
Our community members do not want that, so we are going to use the amount of force necessary to stop that crime.
Charges for these kinds of events can include everything from traffic violations or higher charges like reckless driving. You could even be arrested and get your car towed.
Thanks, Laura. Tonight, police are trying to figure out who fired the shots that killed a 15-year-old girl in South St. Louis. Deornay Hayes was charging her phone at an apartment building on Miami Street in the Gravois Park neighborhood last night when shots were fired from a nearby alley. Hayes was shot in the head.
Hours from now, a new group of leaders and people from various communities will join forces to put a drastic dent in homicides from St. Louis City to the county and even in St. Clair County.
Brent Solomon is live tonight to explain how they'll be looking at trends from other cities to see what can work here.
Well, Kelly, Mike, you'll remember last year we traveled to Kansas City, Indianapolis, New Orleans, and Baltimore searching for solutions. Now we've learned the group that will meet tomorrow will explore tactics from 2 of those cities to turn things around here. When crime strikes, it's never welcomed.
We want to see crime diminish.
Cynthia Daly of Safe Connections works to prevent domestic violence and to steer young people away from it. She's reacting to a regional initiative called Save Lives Now. Under the leadership of St. Louis Mayor Tashara Jones and St. Louis County Executive Sam Page, a group of community leaders and neighbors want to reduce shootings and homicides by 20% in 3 years.
Realistic?
I think it is. I honestly do. I think it is. I think it's going to take all of us working together to accomplish that goal.
Kansas City and Baltimore, 2 cities 5 on Your Side traveled to last year searching for solutions, now serving as a catalyst for change here. Local leaders are looking at those cities, as well as Chicago and Philadelphia, to see what worked to deter criminals, using what's called cognitive behavioral therapy and street outreach tactics.
It may be successful here in St. Louis and it may not, but you won't know until we try and assess those options.
Page telling 5 on Your Side ahead of the meeting, those who commit crimes are not thinking about that invisible boundary they may be crossing. While the boundaries officially define our communities, they cannot define our response to crime. Danley wants to make sure the group's ideas lead to action.
It's going to be incumbent upon those that are brought to the table to have a plan for implementation and actually follow through with it. See what works, what doesn't, but we can't give up because this is our community.
And that group will consist of police officers, lawmakers, and everyday people. Mayor Jones says since the majority of violent crimes are created by a small percentage of people, she wants to use, quote, credible messengers who can earn their trust. We're live downtown tonight. Brent Solomon, 5 on Your Side.
After 2 days of testimony, the fate of a convicted murderer seeking his freedom is now in the hands of a judge. Just hours ago, both sides rested in Christopher Dunn's hearing. He spent the last 33 years in prison for killing Rico Rogers in 1990. Multiple witnesses who put him at the scene of the crime have now recanted their testimony. It is unclear on when the judge will release his decision. St. Louis now has one less alternative for news. The new owner of the Riverfront Times laid off its entire staff of editors and writers today. The weekly alternative newspaper printed its first edition nearly a half a century ago. According to our partners at the St. Louis Business Journal, the future of the publication is unknown. The former owner, Big Lou Media, will continue to operate Sauce Magazine.
Just hours ago, dozens of Sumner High School students hit the runway for a unique fashion show. Students enrolled in the school's Fashion Pathway program showed off their skills through modeling and design. About 3 years ago, Sumner introduced the Pathway programs as a way to attract more artistic students.
It took us about, I want to say 3.5 months to prepare, and every day from Monday to Friday we working.
No, I've always wanted to design clothes for like plus size girls like myself.
Currently about 90 students are taking the living arts, photography and film, dance and choir electives. Tonight's fashion show was sponsored by the Father and Family Support Center and funded by the Regional Arts Commission.
The cost of a higher education just got higher.
Interest rates on federal student loans are going to be higher.
Borrowing for college can become a lifelong burden. Tonight, the things to consider before taking out student loans. Devastation in Iowa tonight.
Wow, that's a tornado, guys.
The death and destruction caused by a powerful tornado and the fear there could be more victims.
No intense storms quite like that in our forecast. We are tracking storm chances, though, for Sunday, and that could bring some rough weather to parts of the bi-state region. We'll see you in 7 minutes.